I'm Scott Slapin of the Slapin-Solomon Viola Duo, and I'm here today to try to get you really excited about scales and arpeggios. And I know scales and arpeggios are not things people usually get excited about, because people are mainly interested in music for their creative sides, and there's nothing really creative about practicing scales and arpeggios. But they're so useful that you should do it anyway. All music is actually based on fragments of scales and arpeggios. And I know you're thinking, how is that possible? But go pick some random couple of measures, and I guarantee you're going to see 3 notes that are fragments of a scale, and then maybe 7 or 5 notes that's a piece of an arpeggio. It really does all break down to that. And here's another concept that seems like, how could that be possible? But if you're practicing scales and arpeggios in all 24 keys, all at least 3 octaves with thirds and tenths and everything that you can do, that's actually harder than anything in our repertoire. And not only ours, I mean for all instruments, because it's that thorough. You're really covering the entire fingerboard, doing everything that you possibly could do. It's very difficult to do that well. So even if you're not doing it that well, if you do it, if you're practicing it every day, you're going to be really ready to go play whatever repertoire you want to play. And one final point I want to make about scales and arpeggios, it's the first thing you should do when you take the viola out of the case. And if you don't have time to do anything else the rest of the day with the viola, because life is getting in the way, that's all you should do is scales and arpeggios. Why should you do that the first thing when you take the viola out of the case? There's a good reason, a sort of a mental reason. Because you don't want to build in doubt into the repertoire that you're playing. Let's say you're working on a difficult sonata, right? And it's a big shift that you get most of the time, but maybe you miss a little bit. It's a tough one, and you don't want to take the viola out of the case and work on that first. Because what if you miss that shift just because you weren't really ready yet? You weren't warmed up. You weren't mentally in the right frame of mind yet. Because then when you go to play that piece on stage, you're going to have a little doubt, because last time I missed that shift, am I going to miss that shift now? So you shouldn't do that. If you take the viola out of the case and the first thing you do scales and arpeggios to warm up, if you're having a bad morning, so what? You do it again. But you don't play full scales and arpeggios on stage, really. And when you do, occasionally as part of a piece, they often have slightly different fingerings. And there's a reason for that I won't go into now. But if you were wondering what to do today, go practice some scales and arpeggios. You won't regret it.